Hello, everybody. This is Gerald Salenti, and it's Thursday, October 27th, 2022. And here are some of today's trends in the news. And remember, the trend is your friend. And we're the only magazine in the world that does trend forecasting. Nobody, nowhere, no place. Don't do it at Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Cambridge, Oxford. You know why? They don't know how to. But we'll teach you history classes. We'll make up bullshit of what happened before. We'll rewrite the crap, and you swallow it. And they don't do this on the media because they don't know how. So we're giving you, you're not getting anywhere else. We give you the current events forming future trends. What's going on, what it means, and what's next. We don't take positions other than freedom and liberty. Onto the markets. Well, the Dow is up, the NASDAQ and the S&P were down, and that they're up is a joke. You know, it's, I forgot. There was a rise in the GDP. Yeah, nothing compared to what inflation is and how people are suffering. 63% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. You got shares of Meta, you know, the Zuckerberg company over there. They fell 24% today. They're down to 2016 levels. Yep. They're losing their flair. Same thing what happened the other day with Alphabet and the shares of Alphabet. They had dropped, over 9%. And that was their worst day since the COVID war really hit hard back in March of 2020. And Microsoft got hit hard also a couple of days ago with their stocks falling 7.7%. So that the markets are going up at all is a joke. And then again, we put the data in there. You're seeing companies' earnings going up because they're charging more money because of inflation. So this thing's going to go down big. You know, look at the past interview I did last week with Gregory Mannarino on the Trends Journal or Gerald Salenti's site, and you can see where it's going. And of course, with the Trends Journal, we give you history before it happens. We've been right on target with this. And, together, by the way, these 6 stocks, Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Netflix, and Meta, they account for nearly 23% of the S&P 500's value. That's according to FactSet. So you could see the whole thing is controlled by just a very few. So a few companies go up, a few companies, but they're missing the big picture, and we're giving that to you. The World Bank sees easing of global oil prices. Their latest outlook is $92 a barrel in 2023. You know what that is?
Bullshit level, DEFCON 5.
You got it. Oh, today Brent crude's what, 96? And again, as the Ukraine war continues to heat up, so too will energy prices. And when the winter comes, the worst is yet to come. So we disagree with this forecast. New home sales fell almost 11% last month. 11%. Over in Canada, it's taking a beating too. One place after another. They were artificially propped up with these record low interest rates. Oh, and by the way, now your mortgage rate in the United States is above 7%. You go back a year ago, it was in the 3% range. So it's more than doubled a year ago. So yesterday, the news on Wednesday on Wall Street Journal, central bank likely to raise rates again. The Bank of Canada is expected to deliver a second straight 3/4 point rate increase on Wednesday. Well, 9 of 12 economists surveyed by the Wall Street Journal now predict Canada's central bank will lift its overnight target rate to 0.75%, 75 basis points. Well, yesterday, Canada surprises with a half-point rate rise. Oh, wonder why? Nothing to do with stopping inflation. The economy is going down the toilet. So inflation is going to keep going up, and they're doing everything to keep artificially propping up the economy. And you're going to see the same thing we're forecasting happening in the United States. Next Wednesday, the Federal Reserve is going to tell us how much they're going to raise the rates. We believe that even if they raise them 75 basis points, they're going to come out and say, we're going to ease up after that, because the midterm elections are coming up a week later, well, 6 days later, on October 8th, Tuesday. So the rate thing is going to slow down as the economy slows down. Grain traders lifted by global food crunch. Well, they're showing how much the price of everything is going up and their quarterly revenue. And you have two things that are basically doing it. You know, you just had, in Europe, it was the hottest year in 500 years. You go back 500 years ago, there were about 500,000 people, 500 million people on the planet. So yeah, you had a terrible time there, but you had 500 million people. And now you have 8 billion people and the worst conditions. Oh, and then there's the Ukraine war. And thanks to the sanctions and the battles going on, as we detail as it happened and continue to happen, you're seeing the cutbacks there. Higher energy prices are also boosting demand for the oil seed processes, biofuels. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has disrupted supplies from one of the world's top grain exporting regions. Yep, pushing up the prices of wheat and corn. So this is very serious. And again, we're outlining it in detail in your Trends Journal. I mentioned about the central banksters over there up in Canada. The dictatorship, the dictator, the little arrogant dictatorship, little Trudeau, a little fucking prick, an arrogant fucking prick that caused an act. Remember when he closed down the whole, put the people in jail for protesting about not wanting to get vaccinated? The truck drivers? Emergency Act? That little fuck. Anyway, up in Canada, the central bank governor signals end to tightening cycle. As we said, the Bank of Canada, blah, 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 blah. Yep. Economists had expected. Again, they're going to artificially prop up the economy. Oh, General Dynamics wins Ukraine arms deal. General Dynamics, a U.S. aerospace and defense group, has booked its first order related to the war in Ukraine. Well, isn't that great? Isn't that wonderful? And who's the fuckface that's our Secretary of Defense? Lloyd Austin? Where does he come from? Oh, Raytheon. That's the guy that wants to weaken Russia? You mean the second largest defense contractor? Israel kills 5 Palestinians in raid. West Bank Israeli forces said they killed 5 Palestinians in Nablus during a raid on militant hideouts. Oh, you're a militant. You're a militant when you're fighting occupiers that are illegally occupying and destroying your country. Israeli security forces this year have killed at least 111 West Bank Palestinians, including 5 women and 24, you ready for this word? Minors. How about children? It's okay for Israel to do it. Why, you anti-Semite? God gave them that land. Hey, they're Ashkenazi Jews. They're from the Eastern Europe. God didn't give it. Oh, they converted to Judaism when? Oh, about 800 AD. Yeah, like evangelical Christians, right? Occupied territory, stolen fucking land. And don't call me an anti-Semite. I call it like it is. Oh, I could call America murderers in their wars, but you can't say it about Israel. You know, fuck you. Or maybe they'll kill me for saying that. Just after midnight on Tuesday, convoys of Israeli military jeeps entered the city of Nablus to raid a site belonging to a newly established armed group called Lion's Den. Yep. Many Palestinians killed by Israeli forces in the West Bank this year were militants. Yeah, people who are fighting against the occupiers are militants. They said the same fucking words when they're killing Americans in Iraq and Afghanistan and any country America goes into that they invade and try to get the fuck out. They call them militants. What fucking propaganda? Palestinians on West Bank call Israeli lockdown suffocating. This is the toilet paper record. As Israeli army front-end loader approached the Palestinian mayor tried one last time to stop the soldiers from blocking the intersection in Hawara, a town in the northern West Bank. The soldiers were unmoved. They said a Palestinian child from Hawara had thrown a stone at a passing Israeli bus. The road closure on Tuesday was the latest expansion of a much wider Israeli lockdown in the northern West Bank that's now entered its third week. Since early October, the Israeli army has blocked or restricted access to at least 9 roads in the roughly 25 square mile region after a wave of violence in the occupied West Bank. Occupied. What fucking violence are you talking about? Get the hell out of there. You have no right being there. It's against the law. Oh, don't believe me. It's in the Geneva Convention. This is illegal. And all this bullshit that we have to keep supporting Israel. They have a right to defend themselves. Oh, the Palestinians don't. That's the fucking crap they keep spewing out. Israel has a right to defend itself, and we don't care how many people they kill because we're suck-ass little politicians. Yep. A full lockdown on the young militants. Yep. People that are fighting invaders are called militants. Palestinian anger has been compounded by a sharp rise in settler violence in the Nablus area. Settlers? Occupiers. You have no right being there. And we send over $3 billion a year to Israel to keep doing this. Thanks to the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner, Barack Obama. At least twice this month, Israelis were filmed entering Hawara, vandalizing Palestinian property, throwing stones at Palestinians, and waving clubs. Lines of masked men were also filmed descending from nearby hilltop settlements. Isn't that a nice word? Settlement? Last Friday, and throwing stones at Palestinian residents. The Israeli commander, and their videos show the soldiers had done little to stop the settler intrusions, sometimes standing aside entirely and sometimes targeting the Palestinians instead of the settlers. The Israeli commander was unmoved. Until you raise your children properly and stop throwing stones, this will continue. Throwing stones as they throw bullets. Isn't that something? And then on to Ukraine. Putin says the world conflict is high. Moscow officials call it desatanization in Ukraine. Heaviest battle lies ahead in Kherson as Ukrainian troops, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, a member of the Russian Security Council has called for the desatanization of Ukraine, claiming the country is home to hundreds of satanic sects and radicalism. Blinken, this is our Secretary of State, said the U.S. and its allies will continue to hold Russia accountable. Quote, you can't simply go in and seize territory from another country. You can't change the borders of another country by force. You can't erase its independence and sovereignty from the map, Blinken said. If we allow that to go unchecked, if we allow them to proceed with impunity, it opens up Pandora's box around the world for would-be aggressors. Hey, Blinken, are you talking about Israel or Russia? Oh, no, you're Jewish. It's okay. You're a hypocrite. You are a hypocrite. You are blaming Russia for exactly what the Israelis are doing. You can't simply go in and seize territory from another country. Oh, yes, you can. God gave us this country. We could steal it from Jordan and the Palestinians. Who the fuck you talking to? I'm talking to the average American that swallows shit. You can't change the borders of another country by force. Oh, but Israel can? You hypocrite! You hypocrite! I went to Dalton. I went to Harvard. My daddy was in the top. I'm a member of the club. It's George Carlin got it wrong. It's not one big club and you ain't in it. It's one little club. And you got little fucking freaks running it. You can't change the borders by another country by force. You can't try to erase its independence and sovereignty from the map. Oh, wait a minute. When you go back to the map of Israel, when it was illegally created back in 1947, it was only that big. And now it's that big. Hypocrite, hypocrite, like all you American prostitutes, you media whores that get paid to put out by your corporate pimps and your government whoremasters. Israel has a right to defend itself, and they have a right to steal and kill anybody they want, like they do in Syria. If we allow that to go unchecked, if we allow that to proceed with impunity, it opens up Pandora's box. Yeah, Pandora's box. Yeah, fuck. Anyway, turmoil sweeps Iran. 15 die amid unrest across. This thing's going to keep going. As the economy goes down, and again, you listen to the chants of the Iranian people. Women, life, freedom. That's because they killed this young girl. They report they did. The capital in Tehran, women tossed their headscarves onto bonfires in the streets, shouting, freedom, freedom. Freedom. Freedom is the word. Freedom is the word. The universal church of freedom, peace, and justice. Freedom is the word, and they're stealing it from us at every level, as they did with the COVID lockdowns. They robbed us of our freedom. They censor our beliefs. We are going into the worst socioeconomic and geopolitical crisis in human history. It's in front of us. World War III has started. And if we don't do something to stop it, it's going to be hell on earth. So do what you can. And we're giving everything to you that we can. The more subscribers we have, the more that we can do. And the magazine last week was over 150 pages. And another great cover by Anthony Frieda, the genius. These are tricks, no treats. Happy Halloween. And there you are. Tricks, no treats. This is terrible what's going on. And if we don't stop it, it's only going to get much worse. Yep. Last night, Scott Ritter had a book signing in Poughkeepsie at Farmers and Chefs. It's a great restaurant. And place was packed. A load of people came far away as Toronto. And he gave a great, great talk. So go to Scott Ritter's website, get his new book. It's about the time he spent in the Soviet Union and a lot of other things that you're not going to hear anywhere else. He's a real man, a real fighter, and he's paid the price for it. And we all do. We get blacklisted. You're not allowed to talk about peace. You only can talk about war. Matter of fact, there's an article in the toilet paper record about, what's his name over there? How the world's richest man became a geopolitical chaos agent. Isn't that a nice name? Elon Musk, they call him a chaos agent because he won't swallow the shit. In the last 4 weeks, Elon Musk has offered a peace plan for Russia and Ukraine that outraged Ukrainian officials. Oh, so that makes him, that's geopolitical chaos. Oh, it outraged you. Listen, I don't care what Ukrainians do. I don't want my money to go there. This has been going on for 300 years between the two countries. Ain't my business. I'm an American, and I believe in the founding fathers and what this country was founded upon. But they call that chaos. You know what else chaos? He also suggested in a newspaper interview that China could be appeased if they were given partial control of Taiwan. An official in Taipei demanded that he retract his suggestion. Who the fuck are you to tell him to retract his suggestion? When I'm telling you about freedom and how we're losing it and how they go after anybody that doesn't want war, this is ungodly. There's no God that believes in war. Biden calls himself a Catholic. You're no Catholic. You're no Christian. You're no Jew. You're no Muslim. You're no Seventh-day Adventist. You're no Mormon. You're no Baptist, Episcopalian, if you support death and war. Unless the God you believe in is from down under. I'm serious. This thing is really getting out of line. And if we don't stop it, it's going to be hell on earth. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe to the Trends Journal and donate to Occupy Peace, occupypeace.com, or the Universal Church of Freedom, Peace, and Justice. Freedom, Peace, Justice.com. We put our money where our hearts are. We keep having rallies. We keep doing everything we can to reverse this trend, but we can't do it without you. And if you don't do anything, the future's in your hands. Don't drop it. Thank you. From COVID war to Ukraine war to world war. Are you prepared for what's next? These are unprecedented times. What's next? What's going to happen? Read the Trends Journal. We have an unsurpassed track record of forecasting history before it happens. Subscribe to the Trends Journal. Read history before it happens. From the world leader in trend forecasting.